Hi, welcome to Surveying in the Summer with Google Forms. This session was created in 2015 and then redone in 2018. So I've edited everything in the presentation for you today. Let's get started. At the beginning of this presentation, you'll see to complete this Google form. This is probably something that you want to go back and do after you finish watching the video. I'll just go ahead and click on it so that you can see what it is. It's going to open up a form that you can complete. I'm not going to do anything with the information. It's just a fun survey for today's training. And be sure to pay attention to the different types of questions that you can add to your surveys, because there are a lot of different choices here. So once you complete that, just click submit, and then it'll go into a spreadsheet that only I'm going to see. Let's get back to the presentation. All right. And I forgot, if I didn't say who I am, I'm Jennifer Hicks, the ITRT at Whole Green and Royal Point Elementary Schools. So forms. Learning intentions and success criteria for today. I can create and edit forms and spreadsheets. I can modify form templates to fit my needs. I can embed images and video in forms. I can use forms for assessment and delivering content. I can share and collaborate on a spreadsheet. I can analyze and manage data in spreadsheets. And I can create and publish charts. Why Google Forms? You can access student data, student learning before, during, and after a lesson, PGP data. Collect observational data on student work, survey different groups of people for feedback on school matters, parents, colleagues, etc., and use for blended learning. You can also find HCPS Google Handbook. There's a link in the note section, and you can go to the Schoology course, the ITRT Instructional Technology Schoology course, and click on How to Tech and then Google. And you may also find the Google Handbook in your School Essential folder in Google Drive. Sorry, I'm trying to think of a lot of different things at once. All right, accessing forms. There are a lot of different ways to get to forms. You can open up Google Drive or go to drive.google.com, open Google Forms by going to forms.google.com, or clicking Forms or the Drive from the app launcher, the little waffle icon. Another way to go would be just to right from your Drive to go to New, Forms, and then More and Google Forms, and it'll open right up. And this is what it looks like when it opens up. And just so you know, I'm just going to be going through these slides with screenshots. I'm not going to actually open up a Google presentation or Google form to go through it that way. I think it is just too distracting. My recommendation would be to print the slides that you want, maybe 2 or 3 to a page, and then just kind of go through it with your computer. Or if you have it on another device, you can do it that way. But when Forms opens up, you'll need to give it a title. And once you type the title right at the top here, if you click in the left like you normally do in any Google application, it'll save your title name right there for you. Then next is the themes. This is where you can get a little lost, but it's good to go ahead and set this up right at the beginning. If you click the palette right up at the top of the screen, then you can click select a header. These are your different theme options. So you have the header, your theme color, your background color, and your font style. If you do the header, you can choose an image, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. Theme color, that'll be the basic color of your theme. And then the background color, which you'll see when you do the fun slide, I added the blue background color for that. And you can also change the font style. It just does the basic questions with whatever style that you choose. And as you're referring to this presentation, you can see there might be some notes that you might want to look at along the way. So when you click image, you'll be able to see the different categories on the left-hand side. There are a lot of different categories, and you just pick one and then click insert, and then you'll see it appear at the top of your screen. For the settings, this is definitely something that you want to pay attention to. Look at the gear at the top of your screen, and then you'll see the different options available. Click the tabs based on what you need. There's a general tab, a presentation tab, and a quizzes tab. We'll go through those next. The general tab, you can collect email addresses or not. You can restrict to HCPS users, and it will require them to sign into their Google account. You can limit to one response. You can edit after submitting or see summary and text responses. For presentation settings, you can show the progress bar, shuffle question order, submit another response. Good for situations when all the students don't have their own devices. That could be changing. Confirmation message can be set to anything you want, so that when you click submit, a message will pop up at the end. And then quizzes. If you want, you can make any form that you create into a quiz. You can have lock mode for Chromebooks. That might be something that's worth checking out once the Chromebooks arrive. And then you can automatically grade the quiz. You can have a choice of releasing the grades and then set what users will be able to do or what they'll be able to see after the grades are released. I haven't actually done anything with the quizzes, but I know a lot of people have used this feature, and there's our directions for you later for this. Now, once you've completed your form, and I know you haven't done that yet, but this is an important feature to know. There's a send button at the top. You don't do this until you actually finishing your form. So you can click the send button, and then you can check this box. This is optional to collect the respondents, the email addresses if you want. And then you can choose to select the form by email, link, or embed it. You can all just follow the prompts along the way. And then you can include the form in an email if you want. And this is also where you can add collaborators. How to deploy your form. Make sure you've made the form available. If you click on the responses tab, you'll see there's a little slider switch that says accepting responses. Make sure that's on before you send this form out to anybody. If that slider is not on, then they won't be able to complete your form, and they would probably email you and let you know that. Again, the options to deploy it are by email, by link, or an embed. The preview, this is something that you can do along the way. I do it a lot of different times. You just click the I at the very top, and then the form will go into, you'll see what everybody else looks like. We'll see what the form looks like, sorry. It will go out of editing mode, which is good because it's kind of hard to see what it looks like in editing mode. Other options that you have, if you click the three dots at the top of your screen, you'll see options such as making a copy, moving to the trash, getting a pre-filled link, printing, adding collaborators, again, script editor, add-ons, various apps that work with Google Forms, and there are a lot of them, and then preferences. Those are basically just your default settings. Creating questions. This is where you can spend a lot of time with that. That's why I would definitely want you to take the quiz that are not the quiz, the survey at the beginning, so that you can see the different types of questions. So you can choose your question type. That's the first thing that you'll do. Then you'll type your actual question. You'll type out your answers. You'll add any answers. You can decide if the question is required or not. And then you can click the plus sign for the new question. When you're selecting the question type, you have a lot of things to choose from. Short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, checkboxes, drop down, file uploads, linear scale, multiple choice grid, checkbox grid, the date and the time. And if the next slide that you see, this goes over some specifics about each of those types of questions. So it's kind of fun to be able to play around with some different types of questions other than multiple choice. Adding an image to your form. You'll see the fun survey that I edited definitely has some images on it. You just have to click when you're in your question. You have little icons along the side, and you just click the image icon, and then from there you'll select how to get your image. You have lots of choices. You could do a Google image search. You could get something right off of your Google Drive or from your photos. You can take it from the camera or upload it from your computer. You can also add videos. Instead of clicking on the image option, you just click the little play button. That's your video icon. And then once you click that, you can either type your search in the box to find videos right here under video search, or you can select the URL and then just copy or type in your link to a video that you might have saved on your Google Drive. Ways that forms can be implemented in the classroom. Think of our good, better, and best. We've talked about those terms before with different technology. A good use of surveys would be to just give students a general survey. It's a good, or even parents, just can be used as a student information sheet. A better way to use it would be to create a quiz, an online quiz, a test or quiz with Flubaroo or Super Quiz. Those are some add-ons. Creating an auto response for forms using an add-on feature. And the best way to use Google Forms would be through the flipped classroom method, personal learning checklist like green, yellow, red, and then a progress check. Other cool features involve things like multiple submissions, monitoring for multiple submissions, recording the email address of people who fill out your form, and easily identifying duplicate responses. This is useful for when you use Google Forms for class elections or school-wide voting. Add-ons, and like I said, there are lots of different add-ons that can be used in conjunction with Google Forms. You can have multiple pages on your form. You can link to a page based on a specific answer. And those are things that are a little more advanced that you might need to ask for help. Might not be something to do for your first time creating a form. And as I said, you could also insert YouTube videos or link to a video in your Google Drive. That's not necessarily something that people use a lot of times. Forms and sheets, how do they work together? Sheets update in real time from the forms. The updated version of Google Sheets is nice because you can just go to the tab at the top and click on responses. You don't have to go search in your Google Drive. And then you just click on the little icon, the little green Sheets icon, and it opens up, and then you can do whatever you want. In Sheets, this is where you can collect your data, create charts and graphs, and share that with whoever. So Forms and Sheets definitely does work together. Now, the end of this is just some time for you to explore. So you need to think about, if you're using Google Forms, what do you want to create? If you click on both of these links, you'll have some extra information. If you click on this first one, this is going to take you to the Google Help page, the G Suite Learning Center. And there's lots of resources here. What can you do with forms? Getting started with forms, it'll just take you right through the process of creating a form. You might want to look through this first. If you can look at this on one device while you're working on another, that might be good as well. So this is directly from Google. The other link is one that was shared. A classroom teacher on YouTube created this video on how to create your own Google quiz, forms quiz. I was just letting it start up. How to create a Google Forms quiz, self-grading and imports into Google Classroom, if you're interested in that. And again, your Google Essentials folder in Your Google Drive of your school might have some Google information, might have some forms. Also, the HCPS Google Handbook, as well as your, what was that first slide? The Schoology course. Also in the how-to section has some information about Google Forms. And if you don't want to do those things on your own and you just want to wait for school to start back up and get some help, some direct help and one-on-one help with your ITRT, then just contact them as well. Thanks for tuning in and hope you enjoy Google Forms.